The Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-21, also known by its NATO codename Fishbed, is one of the most iconic and widely produced jet fighter aircraft in aviation history. Developed by the Soviet Union in the late 1950s, the MiG-21 became synonymous with Soviet air power during the Cold War and was used by numerous air forces around the world. It combined simplicity, reliability, and cost-effectiveness with high performance, making it a successful aircraft both in terms of production and combat. The MiG-21 emerged in response to the need for a fast, maneuverable, and versatile fighter capable of operating in both air superiority and ground attack roles. The Soviet Union, driven by competition with the United States and its allies, sought to develop an aircraft that could counter contemporary Western fighters like the Lockheed F-104 Starfighter and the English Electric Lightning. Development began in the early 1950s when Soviet engineers at the Mikoyan-Gurevich Design Bureau, hence the MiG prefix, sought to create a lightweight, supersonic interceptor. The MiG-21 was the culmination of several earlier Soviet jet fighter designs, most notably the MiG-15, MiG-17, and MiG-19. These aircraft had proven successful in earlier conflicts like the Korean War, but the MiG-21 represented a new generation of Soviet fighters. It was designed to reach high speeds while maintaining simplicity and ease of production, which would allow the aircraft to be built in large numbers and deployed across the Warsaw Pact and Allied nations. The first prototype of the MiG-21 flew in 1956, and the aircraft entered service with the Soviet Air Force in 1959. It was among the first fighters to combine supersonic speeds, swept wings, and a delta wing configuration, which allowed for high maneuverability and reduced drag at high speeds. The MiG-21's engine, the Tumansky R11 turbojet, gave it a top speed of around Mach 2, about 2,175 km per hour or 1,350 mph per hour, which made it one of the fastest fighters of its time. The MiG-21 was designed to be a lightweight, fast, and agile fighter that could perform multiple roles. Its most distinctive feature was its delta wing, a triangular wing shape that improved high-speed stability and enabled rapid climbs and turns. The delta wing configuration also made the aircraft simpler and more robust compared to other complex wing designs. In terms of size, the MiG-21 was relatively small compared to Western fighters of the era. Its compact design allowed it to accelerate quickly and achieve excellent performance at high altitudes. The aircraft had a bubble canopy that provided pilots with good visibility, crucial for dogfighting scenarios, though it had some visibility limitations to the rear. The MiG-21 was armed primarily with a 23mm GS-23 autocannon, or 30mm NR-30 cannon, and could carry a range of air-to-air missiles, such as the K-13 AA-2 Atoll, which was the Soviet counterpart to the American AIM-9 Sidewinder missile. The aircraft could also be outfitted with unguided rockets and bombs for ground attack missions, adding to its versatility. Some variants of the MiG-21 were capable of carrying air-to-surface missiles, which expanded its role in close air support operations. One of the MiG-21's significant advantages was its ease of production. Designed with simplicity in mind, it could be produced in large numbers without the need for complex, expensive technology. This made the aircraft suitable for mass production and deployment in vast quantities, a key factor in the Cold War, when both the East and West sought to build up large air forces. The MiG-21 holds the distinction of being one of the most produced jet aircraft in history, with approximately 11,500 units built. It was manufactured not only in the Soviet Union, but also under license in other countries, including India, China, Czechoslovakia, and Romania. China developed its own variant of the MiG-21, known as the Chengdu J-7, which itself saw widespread use in export. The MiG-21 was produced in several different versions over its long production life, which lasted from 1959 to 1985. Early models, such as the MiG-21F, were simple day fighters, while later variants, such as the MiG-21 bis, incorporated improvements like more powerful engines, enhanced avionics, and increased weaponry. Specialized versions were developed for reconnaissance, ground attack, and training purposes, making the MiG-21 one of the most adaptable aircraft in the Soviet arsenal. The MiG-21 first saw extensive combat during the Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975, where it was used by the North Vietnamese Air Force against U.S. and South Vietnamese forces. In Vietnam, the MiG-21 faced off against American fighters such as the F-4 Phantom II and the F-105 Thunder Chief. Despite being outnumbered and technically inferior in terms of avionics, the MiG-21's speed, agility, and small size made it a formidable adversary. North Vietnamese pilots used hit-and-run tactics, exploiting the MiG-21's speed advantage to evade American radar and missiles, and then quickly retreating after launching attacks. It was particularly successful in close-range dogfights, where its maneuverability was an asset. The MiG-21 also played a prominent role in various Middle Eastern conflicts, particularly during the Six-Day War, 1967, Yom Kippur War, 1973, and the Lebanon War, 1982. It was flown by air forces in Egypt, Syria, and Iraq, among others. While Israeli pilots generally had better training and more advanced aircraft, such as the F-4 Phantom II and later the F-15 and F-16, the MiG-21 remained a workhorse for Arab air forces throughout the 1970s and 1980s. The MiG-21 also saw extensive use in Africa, where it was operated by countries such as Angola, Ethiopia, and Libya. It was involved in numerous regional conflicts, including the Ogaden War between Ethiopia and Somalia and the Angolan Civil War. Throughout these engagements, the MiG-21 often faced Western-supplied aircraft, and while it was sometimes outmatched, it remained a reliable and versatile platform. The MiG-21's success can be attributed to its simplicity, reliability, and adaptability. Its straightforward design made it easy to maintain and operate, even in challenging conditions with limited infrastructure, a critical factor for many developing nations that received the aircraft through Soviet military aid programs. The fact that it could be built in large numbers also meant that countries could afford to field sizable air forces without investing in more expensive, complex aircraft. In terms of combat effectiveness, the MiG-21 was highly successful in certain roles, particularly as an interceptor and close-range dogfighter. Its speed and maneuverability made it a threat to more advanced Western fighters, and in conflicts where pilot skill and tactics played a major role, such as in Vietnam, the MiG-21 proved to be a formidable opponent. The aircraft's enduring popularity is evidenced by the fact that it remains in service with several air forces today, more than 60 years after its first flight. Countries like India, Croatia, and North Korea still operate upgraded versions of the MiG-21, attesting to its resilience and versatility. While many air forces have transitioned to more modern aircraft, the MiG-21's impact on aviation history is undeniable. The MiG-21 was a groundbreaking fighter aircraft that embodied the Soviet Union's approach to military aviation during the Cold War. Simple, effective, and capable of being produced in large numbers. Its delta-wing design, supersonic speeds, and adaptability made it a favorite among Soviet-aligned nations, and it became a symbol of Soviet air power during the 20th century. Although it faced more advanced aircraft in combat, the MiG-21's speed and maneuverability allowed it to hold its own in numerous conflicts around the world. With over 11,000 units produced and decades of service across multiple continents, the MiG-21 has earned its place as one of the most influential and successful jet fighters in history.